Well, took Ollie to the batting cages today. Let him stretch his little noodle arms out a bit. Not a whole lot going on today, obviously. We get football. What else going on today? Got to jog a couple of horses that were castrated. Sometimes they get a little swollen up underneath, so we have to jog them today. I'll go with them, I guess. But not a whole lot going on. Are we racing? Easy in the Turns races tonight. And then Monday we have breaks and Carter Michael Dio. We'll get to them in a minute. I want to talk about the 3-year-olds. We have 2 videos left today. The 3-year-olds, let's see, who do we have for 3-year-olds here? We have Absolute Euphoria, who raced great the other day. A winner, not only was it 2 but 4, and Tim had her doubled back in. I didn't realize it, but the class the other day was open. It wasn't, what I mean by open, for Colts and Geldings and fillies. She was a winner in there. Now she drops back into the straight fillies class on Wednesday. I think win, lose, or draw, that'll be our last start of 2023. There's no need to keep going.
Just tells you to go into it.
Just go straight.
Yeah.
There's no point in continuing on with her. I mean, for what? All we're going to do is saturate all her classes so that when she comes back, she's buried. It makes no sense. Even if she wins on Wednesday, she gets to come back into that class when she comes back. So we have big hopes for her as a 4-year-old. I think she has all the tools to be a really good horse. She's definitely got that winner's mentality and that right attitude. So I think we're sitting on a pretty good filly coming to be a mare as a 4-year-old. Interested to see what's going to take place with Absolute Euphoria in a 4-year-old season. A Sliver of Fashion was good the other day, as I reported. Tiny little few flecks of blood in there. I think trying to prep him for a schedule where he was off 10 days, Tim had to train him. And we did the same thing way back when. We'd be very careful how we trained this guy. I think this is another case, and we've had cases. We're getting better at it. We learn as we go, and it's a little bit different for every horse, but we went through this with Per Lucky. Who was another horse that bled pretty good? Brace had bled at one point too. This is something that came up. This time of year it's easier to treat because there's no allergies or heat. So it's a little bit easier to treat. So when it comes to a Sliver of Fashion, I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just a matter of putting together the right plan for him. Had the 9-hole the other day, and as you can see, I was trying to fish the earplugs out. I couldn't get them out for some reason. Did that matter? I thought maybe in real time, it cost a second, but when I went back and watched the replay, I think we were going to be 4th either way. But 4th out of the 9-hole, going much faster speeds. I think he'll adapt to the speed. He's not a killer. He's not a monster by any stretch, but he is a nice horse for that class, and I think we'll have some fun with him moving forward. I like the horse. He's a likable horse. Brace for Landing. You're a little late on the draw there, Addie Bear. When do you put your hat on? Show everybody your hat.
This is a C.
Oh, I see. When it comes to Brace, we'll bring him back probably another 3 weeks. We'll start him back up. I don't want to give him too much time off, but I don't want to cut it short either. I'd like to see Jacob have some time to put some weight on this guy. We'll see how what's that?
There's a deer.
Oh, there's a deer. 2 deer right on the... Did everybody see that? I don't know if anybody can see that. Literally 2 deer just wandering. Look at the deer right on the road, Addie. Look.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 of them. Right there. Anyway, so Brace for Landing, we'll get him started back up. I've always stuck up for this horse, and I always think that he'll come on and be a real good 4-year-old. And an even better, quite frankly, 5-year-old. I have long-term plans for Brace for Landing. I just think he's got the right attitude and the right work ethic. We just have to fit him into the right body. We got to put weight on him so he can put muscle on, and that's really what's always been missing from this guy. We've always said it from the day we got him. He just seemed physically a little bit immature. Some horses can overcome that and go with that, and other horses can't. And Brace has taken America 54 and been a good horse for us, but certainly not the horse we'd hoped he'd be as of yet. But I have not lost all hope for my boy Brace for Landing. Carter Michael Dio makes his first start back after that injury he received at the start of the season. We missed our deadline by a little bit, but it has to be the horse first. And when we'd started him back up to trade him down, there was still a little discomfort in that ankle, which is understandable. When you have a fracture, anybody that's ever fractured a bone, you know that just because it's healed certainly doesn't mean you're back to 100%. You got to rehab that and the rehab process took a little bit longer and was a little bit more staggered than we'd hoped in it. And it took a little bit longer than we hoped to get Carter Michael Dio back. Collector, both him and the other guy trained the other day, trained pretty good. I said to Jason, I'd like to make a couple of changes with Collector was fine. A little bit of mucus in his nose today also. So we'll see how that plays. We want to get him to Mohawk, and we want to get him racing at Mohawk. But there's no point putting him in unless they're right at 100%. Very close. But as you can imagine, this time of year, the nights get a little bit colder. Plus, you have the horses coming in from different places. What I'm talking about is Harrisburg themselves, Collector also, and Kenobi coming from different places. So there is how far is up Northfield Road? This is Northfield Road, right?
Yep.
Why don't they just tell us to go this way all the time?
We lost track of things.
I suppose you're right.
I just didn't go this way from now on. It's otherwise a little more confusing. So Carter Michael Dio was good. Collector, as I said. We have him scheduled to go back to Ontario. If we push that a few days because he's a little bit sick, then that's fine with me. I know everybody's waiting to see Kenobi and Collector race, but you're not waiting to see them get beat. You're waiting to see them race good. And trust us, I want to make sure these horses are on their toes and at 100%, both physically and mentally, when they go behind the gate. Coupe de Ville is going to race on Wednesday. Yes, we retained her. Somebody said, well, when do you sell her? I never sell her for less than she's worth. This is a good filly that I'm certain is going to be a good broodmare. And it's great because I talked to Steve and John and Jim, a number of our clients, stakeholders, the other day, and throughout the summer, and explained, with us, if I know that Coupe de Ville is going to be a nice filly and a nice mare, we can breed her. And if people don't want to give us what she's worth when she's in full fun, then we'll keep the foal and sell the foal in-house. I have no problem with that. I'm going to protect our horses top to bottom from start to finish if we need to protect them. The horses that we move along the way, fine, but there are going to be horses that we believe we should retain, we should keep. And if that is along the line, then so be it. We can do that. That's not a problem. And when it comes to Coupe de Ville, no, I know she's worth 30 or 35,000. And the last live bid, I know somebody said, well, the last live bid was 30. No, it wasn't. No. If I put a reserve of 30, that certainly does not mean there's live bids leading up to 30. The last live bid for Coupe would have been somewhere around 26. I'm not taking 26,000 for Coupe de Ville. I'm sorry. She's proven there's no need to do that. She can race right up into 10 wins, which is really 13 because 3 of those are fair wins. So she can win another 4 races before she has lost those conditions. We are at almost December 1st right now, so she can win 4 races before she gets herself into condition trouble, and at that point you're almost on top of breeding season. So either we will sell her to somebody as a broodmare, or we'll retain her, buy our clients out, and breed her ourselves, and that's always an option for Coupe de Ville. Crantini, I know a lot of people. I was surprised. An inordinate amount of people asked me, what's the story? What's the plan? Somebody actually asked me, was there a consensus to buy this horse back? Which I think is a fair question from the outside looking in. But why would I possibly need a consensus to buy Crantini back? There wouldn't be one human being on planet Earth. There wouldn't be one human being on planet Earth knows Crantini as well as I do. Not one. And I don't need to ask anybody how he is. I looked at the horse in the paddock. I could see, and this is the thing. When a horse doesn't fit into a program, we saw that with Kemp, with Unbeatable Kemp. Rob Fellows is an incredible trainer, a fantastic trainer. But sometimes horses just don't fit into your programs, right? Kemp didn't fit into his, and Crantini certainly didn't fit into the place that he went to. And when it came to Crantini, yes, mentally, I'm sure there's some blocks now put up, and there's some knots in the way that we have to undo and put him back in place, but physically the horse is perfect. And to look at Crantini, here's a horse that has lots of room in those conditions to move. Still, same as Coupe, I think 4 wins, if I'm not mistaken. And then after that, he is a horse that actually can hopefully step up into the condition ranks. And if he doesn't, he will be able to somewhere. But it just seemed to me, one, for the purchase of him, it was an easy purchase. We were trading for 2 horses that were about to become obsolete in our barn for the most part. And when it came to Crantini, yes, the downside is right now he's terrible. He was terrible. And I'll get to that in a minute. He was terrible. The upside being he was very, very good for us. Very good. Won the Arden, beat Black Magic. Black Magic went out and won the Beal Consolation 2 weeks later. So this isn't a bad horse. It's a good horse. And I personally had no trouble with him all summer racing him. Tim did a great job, and that's where he's going back to next Friday. And you may say, well, why is he slid? That happens. You guys have to understand there's such a thin line in a lot of the things we do. The nuances of racing horses and sticking to the model we're trying to build and create and strengthen is difficult. It comes with selling some horses that maybe people don't understand that we're selling, and it comes with maybe buying some horses that they don't understand we're buying. But you have to look at what we've done. I think our track record kind of speaks for itself. Nobody can be perfect. There's going to be mistakes made, and there's going to be errors made along the way. That's just human nature. But when it comes to the horses themselves, I know Crantini. I know that all the horses, all the players in the deal that we made, and I was very, very happy with making that deal. So Crantini trained him Saturday. For those of you who are out there wondering, 59 last half and 58 at Northfield Park. Pretty good mile for him. Bounced a little bit when he went out the door, but again, he can be a little frustrating. But when we get right into the heat of the mile, absolutely perfect. Just how he was the day we sold him. That's how he felt to me anyway. One thing is for certain, they did take good care of him because he did come back and he did look good. I was very, very happy with the way Crantini looked, both when we picked him up and then secondly, the way he trained the other day. Everything the same. We just put everything back the same way it was, and for the most part, the same horse showed up. In my mind, that's how I felt. Enzo Guayo looks like he may have injured that left hind leg the other day somewhat in the race. I don't know if we're going to be able to race him on Tuesday. Looks like there was a mark also that he hit that had a little surface infection, so he's got a couple little things going on there. What is that going to lead to? It'll likely lead to a scratch on Tuesday, I can tell you that. After that, I'm not really sure. Five Fish Species has been racing great all year. I'd love to see this filly get to that $100,000 mark, and I think she will. I don't see any reason why she wouldn't. She's been racing great and continues to race great for all of us at the stable. Halakai III, a winner the other day. I told everybody, we had to take a little bit of luck. It was odd because, again, we talk about the little things in horse racing, right? Halakai can't get off the gate super good. But she's been durable. She's been racing good. I wanted to get away behind Aaron, but I can't break rule number 1 doing it. Can't put her on the run trying to do it. So you're always pushing her right up against that red line. Can I get around the 1 and 3? If I can't, what am I going to do then? I go to walk up to the horse, and Jason Merriman looks at me and goes, just so you know, Aaron Merriman's horse tied up. He said, I'm almost positive. I watched them walking back and forth to the back stall. She seems really stiff. I could be wrong. I don't know the horse, but she looks tied up to me. So I keep that in the back of my head, too. As we go around the first turn, I'm watching Aaron's horse in the post parade. She doesn't look super comfortable. Not bad. But if you said to me, hey, what's that horse look like to you? I'd say, that horse looks a little tied up. We get in behind the gate. Now, if Jason knows, I'm assuming that Aaron knows. So we go to Guetta there. The 3 goes out hot. The 1 goes out. I'm not getting away well. I look. I might not even get in the 4 hole. 9 horses pushing through. I think it was the 9. But I see Aaron pushing over to the front, and I'm like, I'm going to try him. I let her rock to the front. As soon as I saw him grab a hold, I thought, maybe she's not that good. Because now Aaron's in the race. He knows, sitting behind her, well before I get to him, what state of mind the horse is in. Right? How the horse is right now. Hold on, honey. Aaron is the guy you kept calling Dr. Mike the other day. You're silly.
That is Dr. Mike.
No.
That was.
So Dr. Latessa has a redhead, with a little bit of a beard, and so does Aaron. So she thought that Aaron was Dr. Mike. Anyway,
That was Dr. Mike.
no, it wasn't. So Addie. So I clear to the front, and the telltale sign was Aaron didn't remove to the front. Now Aaron's like 2 to 5. I'm like 8 to 10 to 1, something like that. And when he didn't remove to the front, I knew something was up. So I continued on my way. But shh. Ava, go take her to see the baby kittens. Don't mess anything up in there, please.
What am I gonna mess up? The cat
I'm
food?
sure if you could find a way, you would. So, getting into the last turn, Aaron's horse, or Sean Johnson. Aaron Johnson? It was Aaron Johnson's horse. Has me collared. But Halakai doesn't feel done. She just feels like she's dropped into neutral a little bit, but you can't sting her. You sting her with the whip, she'll just shut right down. She won't go forward. So I'm kind of brushing the whip over tail. I'm picking at her and picking at her and picking at her, and I can feel her as we get midway around the last turn. You know, and again, we talk about good horses. She's not a great horse, but she's a good horse, and she picked back up. She horses know sometimes, and it just felt like the race was vulnerable, and she could feel it too, and she dug back in and found that extra little bit, and then didn't just win by a nose, opened up and drove away. And it was so impressive to watch her do that. Again, it's not like she's a killer, she's not a monster, but for what she is, for what they are, she was a monster that day, and she raced very, very good. So really proud of what Halakai III did. Kenobi trained good here. I'll be honest, I was quietly thinking about, I might put the hobbles on Kenobi. A little rickety in the turns sometimes on a half. I think he might be a better horse. He might not need the hobbles, but he might be a little bit better horse with them on. So I told everybody he did have a little bit of mucus in his nose the other day. We can put him in to go, but I might take this time. I might actually push to race him at the Meadows and put the hobbles on him. But I would like to train him a slow mile with them on, because I can assure you he's never felt them on his legs in his life. So I'm not torn on that. We'll see about Kenobi. But he trained good this week. Both him and Collector did have some mucus. Kenobi under scope, we had to push his entry date back a little bit. Collector had some today. I'm worried there might be the same thing going on there. I'd asked Dr. Latessa if he was going to be around to maybe scope Collector, because he is scheduled to go to Ontario, but I'm not shipping him when he's sick. So we have to see what's going on there with Collector. Kenobi. Lindy's Landing was great the other night. He makes you work for it, the bugger, but he's good. He's a good horse. He keeps doing his work and moving forward. But every time he marches forward into that winner's circle, he marches closer to the bus stop. So I don't know. I'm very happy with the way Lindy's Landing is racing, though. Right now. Now, Park Slope won the other day. Not an impressive mile, but a win. A win. Winners win. And we're going to make a few little changes on her this week. I was thinking about it. I sent a message to Jason, said maybe an open bridle mini bit, line pole outside loose on her. Just a few little changes. She reminds me so much of Bomb Hugger. It's eerie how much they are similar. Now, of course, the end game on Park Slope was not to buy her to race her. The end game for Park Slope is to breed her. She is out of a full sister to Kings County, and I think it's a full sister, isn't it? Do you know?
What did you say?
Doesn't matter. Out of a sister to Kings County. And the reason that Steve was interested, as he should have been, and I was interested too, was that Kings County family. Every year, everybody wants those horses. Well, for instance, the full brother to Kings County sold for $600,000 this year at Harrisburg sale, and it was Harrisburg, right? I think it was. Yeah, it was. And to buy this filly, I think that same line, exact same line by Chapter 7, seemed like a slam dunk. You're not going to get all your money back before you go to breeder, but every little bit counts, and a win the other day was good for us. Do you want to throw the harness up? Are you not going in? Yeah. Just see how the Sox horse looks, because Dr. Mike had asked me to jog him a little bit. Was there another one? No, I guess not.
There's one you got to go with tomorrow.
Which one? I can go with him today if he's filled up. I can go with him today. He's not as bad as you think. He's just he's just stubborn.
That one that was filled up. It was the Stolen Dance horse with the surgery. So.
But he had an OCD out. He can't move.
I know.
Well, we're gonna have to talk to
But
Mike.
he got gelded, so.
Is that filled up?
It was yesterday.
No, we're gonna have to talk to Mike about that then. I'll send him a message this afternoon. We're implementing a few little things too. We have a digital training board. So, you go inside the barns and there's the training boards up. This horse jogs this, train Tuesday, jog Wednesday. Well, we have so many moving pieces, especially here in Ohio with the babies, and new people also. I'm going to make it simple for them. We're going to have it implemented so that they can go on their phone every morning and look and see what today. And again, that Curtis put that together. It was simple for him. Seemed very difficult to me, but very simple to him. So just the horses that were castrated, as I said in the other video, sometimes they fill up and you got to move them. You got to walk them. But now in a little trickier situation with the Stolen Dance baby, I don't even know if I told everybody, a little OCD, and he was a ridgeling. We castrated him, took the OCD out. Harder to move him because he had the OCD removed, so I got to talk to Dr. Latessa in that regard. Anyway, continue on with our video here. Park Slope, very proud of what she did because she was not great the other night, but still was a winner. Happy with the way she raced. Spitfire Overseas, the only unimpressive horse I can think of this week. with Spitfire. Mechanically, Tim had him good, but he just wasn't good. And I can't really tell you why. I don't know why. But I'm sure he'll bounce back, whatever it was. Very explainable. I'm sure if we looked at the blood, I was happy he didn't bleed. I was certain he bled. I would have bet anybody as much as you want to bet that he bled, and he did not. So, which is good, so we can work around anything else. Stay Special trained in 220 the other day. Apparently Dominic says she looks good. I saw her coming off the track training when I was in Ontario the other day, and she was sound as a dollar. I said to Johnny, he was coming in with, I said, hey, is that Stay Special? And he goes, yeah. Was she sound? He goes, yeah. He said the one day 3 weeks ago she was a little stiff. We'd done her knees, and he said she's been perfect, which is awesome. Steel Cowboy comes back in Tuesday, I believe. Just a short hiatus for this guy. Obviously, he owes us a lot. We want to get him going and see if we can turn a good horse, squeeze a good horse at an old Steel Cowboy. I know there's something in there. Just sometimes it seems like he's hiding it. Other times he's a little bumpy. It's mechanical, mental, physical. It bounces around. We need to get him on the straight and narrow and get him moving forward. So we'll bring him back in Tuesday. He'll come back in. Tactical Mounds out in the field. We'll bring her back in. Oh, geez, she just went out. So sometime in January, I think. Wallop, he just couldn't get in, so I said, you know what, I'm just going to turn him out for a couple of weeks. So we turned him out. He's been out now for a week, but he was off for a week and a half. So we'll probably bring that guy back in around Christmas time and start him back up. Walter's keepsake. I was happy with the explanation Stacy gave me the other day. So he just looked like he didn't belong, right? I said, she goes, working on the foot, it's hard to keep him tight, with that there, and we get to get the bar shoe on him. I said, that's fine. I said, the only question I'm going to ask you, you don't need to get into specifics, just going to make it as simple as I can. Can he do in Dayton? That is it. She was yes. She was, Brett loves the horse. I like the horse. I think he can absolutely do in Dayton. Good. I'll leave the rest up to you. So I was happy with him. Warwi Yuri, I trained him here yesterday, 2.5 last half and 1.1. He was good. Probably needs another training trip, and then we'll qualify him and get him going. But I wasn't disappointed with Warwi Yuri at all. Yesterday. What a Mission. We're doing a little work on him to get him sounded perfect. Just bites that right line so hard, and we just can't seem to find it. I'd asked him to have the dentist come in. I said, listen, we've had the vet, we've had Dr. Latessa and a number of other people look at this horse a couple of times. It seems like they always come up with the same things bothering them or missing something, and I don't really know what it is. So why don't we start with the dentist? Let's start with the stuff that we haven't checked closely. Shoulders sometimes are really hard to diagnose depending on where they're at and the stiffness and tenderness in them. Teeth are obviously hard to diagnose sometimes also. Let's start there. Let's start with those two things, and then we'll go from there. So that's where we're at with What a Mission, but he's been training. He's almost ready to come back right now. Jason trained him and said he was good, but he was on the right line. So we'll see how he is when we get him back here in the next couple of weeks. But for right now, baby steps forward with him. Happy, but always could be better when it comes to What a Mission. So with that, a very long, interrupted, winding road that was your 3-year-old video for the week. My apologies. Everything seems good. Very happy with the way things are going with all our horses recently. I'll be back in a minute with the 2-year-olds.